Why, hello, everybody. It feels like it's been a month of Sundays. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we serve up a full dish of this week's episodes of NBC's #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives, for the last week. Oh my God, you realize starting next week I have to say Peacock's award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives.
Oh.
Yeah.
These are streaming what's the phrase they're using? It's like streaming exclusively on Peacock.
Yeah.
Streaming
Wow.
exclusively on Peacock because
On the
where
cock.
else would they?
No.
I don't think we can say that, can we? Streaming on
Right.
the cock.
No. I'm
Well,
gonna
welcome,
We
just
can
veto
everyone.
that
say it,
now.
but yeah, we may not want to. But we may not want to start that slogan.
Oh,
No,
boy.
I'm gonna veto that now.
Well,
Is that
welcome
your-
everybody. We are all back and ready to serve up a full dish of this week's episodes. I am your host, Tony Moore, and I'm joined by my gaggle of gals. We have Landing in a City Near You.
Landing on no, I won't say it. Michael Mattis, how are you?
Be a sharp landing.
Hey,
Oh no!
Bumpy.
Turbulence.
Yeah. Rough air.
This is what I have to work with, folks.
We're a
Yep.
mess.
Welcome back. I know we're all back
Welcome back.
together.
Well,
There we
speaking
go.
of having to work, who are you?
I be Araceli Aviles.
I be Araceli. And giving
Hey, guys.
us the worldly books behind him, we have,
Yes, they've traveled with me. Hey guys, Justin Hareld here.
by traveled, he means he folded it up and put it in the back of his car and then taped it back up to the nearest wall.
Exactly. Luckily, you can't see it's still a bit wrinkled, but never mind.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and _, Dishin Days on the Twitter. The @ is currently packing its things and heading to the cock. Peacock.
That
That
wasn't
is
me that time.
Peacock. It's like Pizza Hut. The Hut. Peacock.
Mhm.
The cock.
Sure.
Anyway.
Okay.
You can also find us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are watching us live, go ahead and click that subscribe button and also hit that bell notification. And if you want to see our lovely faces all the time and what's coming up, go ahead and subscribe. Dishin Days on YouTube. And when you are on a long car trip or walking on the treadmill or just taking a gander around your neighborhood, we're on your favorite podcast stations: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So make sure you find us, Dishin Days, on your favorite station and take us along with you. FYI, shout out to Louis, who listens to us on the podcast and realized that I was talking to him when I said take us on the treadmill. He was like, yeah, I knew that was about me. I was like, it was, because you are the person.
Louis on the treadmill. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, listen, y'all, we got merchandise, so buy it.
Yay.
We are dishindays.threadless.com. As you can see, we have the Meliswin Possess Dishin Days logo and serve it a full dish that you can place on a beach towel, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a mug, and all various items. So make sure you go check us out, dishindays.threadless.com. And of course, for all the rest of your soap opera fix, including some original audio dramas, make sure you head over to JLJ Media on YouTube. That is JLJ Media for James Lott Jr., my chocolate twin and former co-host of Dishin Days. He is doing some things over there, so make sure you go check him out.
You know what we're missing in the merch store?
What?
Gray sweatpants.
That season is coming up.
Ay.
And you know what else we're missing, Michael Mattis? Wrangler jeans.
Wrangler.
Coochie Daddy shorts.
The group text that I am forced to be a part of. I mean,
Araceli, I told
Yeah.
you last week I have separated you out of the really, best stuff.
Listen, there's the four of us, and then there's the three of us, because we know that some of the stuff that we see and want to talk about, Araceli's
She doesn't want to
gonna
hear that.
she's gonna light a candle and praise Jesus.
I just
Yeah.
have my disapproving grandma face
Praying
whenever
for our
they're
world
getting
goals,
to
yeah.
there.
Lord, well, you know what? Bless you. All right, so what did we think of this week's episode? Oh, and coming up later on in our show, we have, for the very first time, Brandon Barash joining us, ex Jake. Well, I feel like, okay, let's go through the list. Ex Stefan, Jake, ex Jake, now Stefan.
Stefan again,
We've been trying to get him on the since he was Stefan
the first time.
To get him on a Sunday because he has his daughter.
He's
is a feat, but apparently he was able to move some stuff around, and looking forward to chatting with him.
I love that Michael Maddox pays attention to the emails.
Do what?
I love that you pay attention to the emails.
Every now and then I check in over there.
I loved him first. I loved him as Johnny on General Hospital.
He was great as Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's great.
He's great in general, which is why we're just so excited to have him on later today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting with him. We chatted a little bit at the Emmys each year, but never had a chance to really just hone in on him. So looking forward to that. Before people are like, oh my God, just get to it. Let's get to it. What did you guys think of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives? The last episode on NBC.
Yeah. I thought it was a good week. I found myself not getting distracted a lot by other things, and really, I have to say my favorite scene of the week though was EJ and Johnny, that argument that they had. I don't know, for some reason that really drew me in. But yeah, I thought it was a good week.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good week to end on. Like it wasn't like they didn't make a huge deal out of it and make like a spectacle of like them leaving NBC, but I thought it was like a strong week to say like we're ending during this week and sort of we're setting up things, so come join us on our new home and yeah.
Well, I'm not sure how far ahead they were able to plan, if they were able to really precisely plan that exact amount of time. But I felt that this week was just a good way to send it off. We had the final wedding of that is ever going to be on Days of Our Lives on NBC. We had a resurrection. We had
an engagement.
We had quite a bit of emoting this week. I was really paying attention. It felt like everyone was just kind of bringing it. I don't know if they knew like these are the exact episodes that are going to be airing, but it felt like they were all just kind of given a general timeline of, hey, we're going to get closer. Let's try to start bringing it.
Yeah.
Again, I want to say start. Everybody else bring, but something felt different this week.
Yeah, I thought it was a great week too. Some moments I was like, oh, okay, and some moments I was like, oof, well, all right. So we'll find out what all that. Huh?
You were like that Urkel gif where it's like, ooh.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Oh my God! I feel like Dylan is gonna take that and turn it into a GIF.
Of course,
I feel it in my bones. Shout out to Dylan.
The show. Yep.
Well, all right, y'all. Well, let's break it on down. It is now. Oh boy! It is now time to start
Dishin
Days. I heard someone count. Look.
That was like 1, 2, 3.
Lord.
Whatever.
Bum. We can set it. Oh boy. And forget it. All right, let's start with our first storyline of.
Be a lot.
A lot of people.
Be a lot.
We'll start with our first storyline, which is Stefan, Rolf, Li, Gabi, Ava, Johnny, EJ, Tony, Anna, Chloe, Brady, Kristen. Okay, let me just start here because you guys know I love taking surveys.
Mm-hmm.
Raise your hand if you think it's too soon for Li Shin to ask Gabi for her hand in marriage.
Okay, so practically, like in reality, yes, too early. However, I feel like there have been folks on this show of recent that have gotten engaged much quicker.
You think?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
They have been, but be that as it may, those were too early as well. So, but yes, this is It's too early. It's way too soon. People are getting engaged way too soon, just in general, on this show. Well, like Jake and Ava, example.
Nicole and Rafe, example.
Nicole and Rafe, example. Well, they just fucking got married. They didn't even do the long engagement.
My point exactly.
I just think that we're just kind of getting the foundation of Li and Gabi. And while I like them together, because I think they both have like a lot of the same qualities, especially when it comes to business and like personal. The most common theme in Salem is when I feel threatened in my relationship, ask them to marry me.
Yeah.
Try to lock it down.
It's like, no, like, because that only just adds so much to the relationship. So it's just kind of like, there's no reason for, my thing is this, there's no reason to feel insecure. If Stefan is the love of her life and you know that Stefan is alive, I would have rolled Stefan up and be like, you want him or me?
Yeah.
I want Stefan. Reeled him right back in and said deuces and like went on about my business.
Yes,
I don't want someone that doesn't want me.
Yes, but you don't have a mad scientist in your back pocket.
Let me tell y'all, if I did, there would be multiple Tonys. Prepare to be sick of me.
Oh my God. I can just imagine Mama Moore having to raise multiple Tonys.
Oh,
Listen, think of the talent show that I could have put on. Like, I didn't have to be my own backup dancer. I could have been the lead.
Yeah, this relationship, I like both of them, and I like the sort of revelation that Li is more of a gray character, but their relationship is just, it seems like hollow to me. Like they haven't, all they've really done is honestly is just like have sex. Like it's like, and Gabi even
get to the part where there's a problem.
Yeah, that would be fine if there was a little bit more to them. Like, they haven't really either gone through anything that would usually like speed up a couple sort of getting closer. They're kind of scheming now, but not really together. It's more like he had a plan going, he has a plan going, and they're kind of coming together. So it's not even, it's the fact that it's way too soon. Plus, it just doesn't feel like it's a real, even like a soap opera relationship. And then they sort of had Gabi reference it this week, which was weird. That the fact that she had the conversation with Rafe, like, what was this, maybe 3 weeks ago or something?
Yeah, a month ago.
Where she was literally like, I like him, he's cool, but we'll see how it goes, which I thought was really realistic. But now we jump to that, to now they're engaged.
I think, from Gabi's perspective, I think it makes sense. Knowing what we know, we as the audience know this is not, it doesn't make sense. We know what's going on behind the scenes. But from Gabi's perspective, I think it makes sense because Li is not someone that she has to hide from. She can be devious in front of him. She can be calculating. She can be all those things that she was with Stefan. And Li accepts her, not only accepts her, but likes those things about her. And I think she's been waiting for somebody like that for a really long time that just accepts her for all of who she is. And so even though she might not be like head over heels in love with Li like she was with Stefan, I think she's at a place where she feels like I've had the love of my life, and maybe I'm just not going to have, maybe I'm just going to have a different type of love in my future.
So she's settling. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know if from our perspective, we can say she's settling. From her perspective, I think she's thinking, I had the great love of my life. Am I really going to find something like exactly like that or better ever again? It's a valid question. I don't think she thinks she's settling for Li because I think she thinks that he's wonderful.
But I just feel like they're in the dating phase.
Exactly. But I think that she thinks, because while we're getting to know Li more, he's been on camera more in the last 6 months. He has been a character on the canvas off and on for the last couple of years.
But that we all wanted to see more of. I remember, when he first popped on, I was like, more
Mhm.
Li
Yeah.
Shin, please.
Yes.
And now that we do, I like the pairing of Li and Gabi. I think it makes sense. Um, am I a little worried that he's more devious than Gabby and already keeping like this huge thing and already like, this whole thing with Stefan and all that? Absolutely. Because I mean, again, I kind of wish that like, he was this very, it shows that he lacks confidence
Mhm.
and he should be just a very confident person. He's tall, he's good looking, got a good job, a 401k. So like these are all great qualities
But
of
and
a good
here
man.
but here and this is where I think that meeting with his father actually had a really, this is where I felt like I really understood Li Shin. When his father walked into that boardroom, we saw a different guy.
Well, you
we
saw,
saw we saw a guy who was constantly under his father's thumb, who
Mhm.
has for who he has he explained to Gabby growing up, and I believe this is all true what he's saying, that his father has been on him his entire life. So you can be rich, you can be handsome, you can have the 401k and all these things going for you, but if you have that parent that is constantly on you like that, telling you, maybe not telling you that you're not good enough, but always questioning if you can be better. Oh, yeah, that's going to give you a complex. Of course
And
he's going to think he's not good enough.
and the pressure, like if his wealth and what he has in life is partly due to that parental figure, that just adds to the mix and adds to the pressure that he's under to kind of maybe be on his own,
Which
or
is
like
which is
prove to be something more than just daddy's right hand or whatever.
And which, if you think about it, what would be another reason that he would be so attracted to Gabby, because she's basically a self-made woman.
Mm-hmm.
well, wouldn't that be a reason?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is a reason. It's just one of the many reasons he loves her. So I don't think, like we had someone say, that he doesn't think that Li is really in love with Gabby. No, I think he's too in love with Gabby. He's just, his love for her is pure.
Gabby is a dynamic woman.
Yes, but the way he's now gone about it is not.
Well, because it stems from like someone said it. He's insecure, more so about Stefan, and now knowing that Stefan is actually alive, it's just kind of like, why be so insecure about that?
I just explained to you why.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. I'm saying my own.
The point is, he shouldn't be insecure.
Yeah,
right.
He shouldn't have those insecurities.
And if they're there are plenty. There are two other women, 3.
Like,
Maybe
why Gabby in particular?
Yeah, there's someone else. There's Sloan. Where's Sloan? Get
Oh
Sloan.
heck no, heck no, she's a vulture. Li is devious, but he's not demented.
Michael Mattis, how do you feel about Li Shin's devious ways, looks?
I'm on board with it now. I'm on board with it. He's really leaned into it more, and I'm like, okay, now he's got it down. I think it was maybe an adjustment for him.
Probably because he's probably a really nice guy.
And it was, well, yeah, and he played, Li had been like the nice guy, and then it was such a quick flip that maybe it took him a minute, and with the the way they tape and it's so quick, it just took him a minute to kind of lean into the devious, but now he's got it.
Moving on to the next couple in question, Johnny and Ava. Are we on board with Johnny and Ava at this point, or are we like, don't go down that road?
Still not on board. Like I said before, I like their chemistry together, so I like them in scenes. I just wish it wasn't romantic. I wish it was more like him being like a family member or like a schemer with her kind of a thing. So I like them together, just not romantic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like them together. Because I feel like even with the age difference, it's probably given like, The Graduate. But I feel like Johnny is someone that can handle a woman like Ava. And Ava is someone that can find like that vulnerability with someone like, sorry, Johnny.
Somebody just said that it's a JJ and Eve recycle. It is not. JJ and Eve
really
hated each other. That was a hate sex thing. That was oh heck no. Johnny sees Ava and he is compassionate. He has that Brady compassion in him, which Ava has always craved. She's always just needed someone to see her. To see her flaws and love her anyways. And yes, Anna is right on the money. He has a crush on her. She's probably not thinking that way. She's got a lot going on. Could it end up being sexual? Yeah, probably. But you know what? I think at its core, it's more about that. I think at its core, it's more of a friendship. And I think that's where they've done a really good job of aiming that, especially since everybody still treats Johnny like a kid.
Yeah.
And he, through this, is kind of coming into his own as a man.
Yeah. Shout out to my mother who is watching.
Hi, Mama Moore.
Who, during my coughing fit, just texted me and asked me if I needed a Halls.
No.
So thank you. I have informed her
Do you have
that
some
I have
Vicks?
water. Oh my God. You are so Southern. Okay, so you guys in the chat are, if you're watching later, let us know in the comments what you think. If you're on board with Johnny and Ava, with Li and Gabi. EJ.
Lord have mercy.
EJ's just like, God.
He's like floundering. Like
somebody call Susan.
Out of control.
Yes. Someone needs to ground this man, and I think only Miss Susan is the one to do it, because he is just
mine, EJ.
He literally. He's not getting his way. Everyone's like doing things he doesn't want to do, and he just can't handle it. He's going around brooding like Eric was doing a couple years ago.
He's literally.
I'm sorry. What was that, Michael Madison?
You heard me.
He's literally screaming in the den, throwing tantrums.
Yeah,
exactly. He's exactly
like a child. Ugh.
Yeah,
but I do enjoy Dan Furigal leaning into that a little bit, and he really puts through the frustration and the little digs that he gives when he's talking. Like someone mentioned it in the chat when he was like, "Your Aunt Ava," just kind of putting a little dig there, and I am enjoying that part of it.
Yeah, the reason we hate EJ this week with so much passion is because Dan Furigal is just that amazing.
He has such a lot of tongue-in-cheek moments where they could come across as a bit shade or reading,
exactly.
But it's good. But there are moments where I'm just like, "Whew, Lord, do you have any loyalty to anybody?" Because the way he threw Johnny under the bus, I was like, "Oh, so you just didn't care." Okay, got it. Now, the two that I'm living for, to be honest, are Tony and Anna, because they are just sitting in the back, just like commentating the whole thing.
Martinis at noon, watching the drama.
I want their life.
Dishing like a couple of housewives just sitting around the living room.
And Anna's just calling everything like you see it. Johnny has a crush. Ava is grieving. EJ's acting like a child. I mean, she's just like calling everything as it is. I will say this again. I brought this up a few months ago. I'll bring it up again. Why doesn't Anna have a podcast?
She does seem like she would be the one from the Dimera mention being like, "Hello, everyone. This is
Yeah.
Tales with
A
Anna."
radio show.
A radio-
Love songs with Anna.
Love songs.
7 p.m.
She's got the voice. She's got the charisma. She's got the eye for gossip.
I was gonna say gossip show, yeah.
The Salem Spectator could have a
Oh.
podcast, and she dishes on on all the hot goss in Salem.
Goss in Salem.
Okay.
Which she'd be able to get exclusive interviews because all the hot goss is about all the people that she knows.
Everybody in her house.
Yeah.
And I love her consistent hatred of Kristen. Whenever Kristen's brought, I most certainly didn't invite her. I didn't invite that bitch.
Now this whole thing with speaking of Kristen, Brady, Chloe, and Stefan. I'll go back just a little bit. I hate the fact that Stefan escaped, and all that time, the only person that discovered him was Ava.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I get why they are doing this whole like you're in love with Chloe, but remember Stefan was like with Chloe for like a hot second.
Mhm.
But this whole thing that Kristen has, this vendetta against Chloe, is just kind of like, girl, why? Like it's like it's like that girl that's really attracted to like the quarterback of the football team in high school, and she's like a band nerd. And she's always like, "Oh my God, hi Joe, how are you? I'll buy your lunch, I'll take your tray, I'll do whatever I need to do in order to get an attention." It feels like that.
No.
And then
no.
before you know it, he's tied up in her basement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
and-
Kristen is the psycho cheerleader who is so aggressive, possessive over her jock boyfriend that she throws milkshakes on every girl who looks his way.
Well, that's probably a better analogy. I'll give
And
you.
then
that.
those girls are found tied up in her basement.
Yes.
It always leads to that.
By the way, these
Yes.
have all been Lifetime movies.
I
Like
know.
Lifetime
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Exactly.
We know how this goes.
I just feel like I just feel like at one point do you just say, all right, I'm just going to accept this for Rachel's sake.
Yeah.
No.
The kid that like you've been wanting to have, and at one point thought you could never have children, and now here you are with one. Concentrate and give that energy to that, and just let Brady and Chloe be Brady and Chloe.
No, because it's Kristen.
And the consistent like coming after Chloe because she left work early or didn't come into the office. I'm like, this is no.
It's
That's
just
getting
so
tired.
beneath Kristen. This is
And
like
it's beneath
like a
Kristen,
mastermind.
exactly.
Yeah,
And it's
this
just
is
not.
like
I
child's
don't
play.
buy it. I just don't. But when she's like,
Really?
"Oh, I heard you left work early today," I'm like, "Who the fuck cares?"
But I also want to be like, but you ain't even at work.
Really?
right?
Yeah, I mean, we know that those little digs are just a smoke screen at this point for her
Mhm.
real project, which is expecting her trying to train her brother, formerly dead brother, like some kind of monkey to go and get the supposed new love of his life. And like she expected him to go straight to Chloe's room. He's a man, not a robot.
Well, he had one job. We done woke you up. We done dressed you. You go to the Salem Inn to this room number. What you doing going to the Dimera Creek? Nobody told you to go over there. You supposed to go to
We
the Salem Inn.
We didn't see what kind of bothered me. We
You're
didn't
supposed
really
to go to the
see-
Salem Inn.
Exactly, and we didn't really see why Stefan did not go to the Salem Inn, but instead went to the Dimera. Unless I missed something. Like
Well,
it
the
seemed to be like he
conditioning-
left, and I don't. There was no explanation as to. I would have liked a little bit of reasoning or a little bit of seeing the motivation
It
to
was
go
just,
to the Dimera Crypt
Mhm.
versus
it
Salem
was
I mean,
Inn.
which
just so
people get
Ava
that.
can see him.
But I think it's the Gabby thing. I think it's his subconscious going to the last place where he lived with his wife, essentially. Because then we saw him go from the crypt to the mansion. So I
Yeah.
think it's the real Stefan coming through, like even with
Yes.
all the brainwashing and stuff. Like,
Got
Exactly.
it. Okay.
like
Or
remember
did
we talked a couple weeks
about
ago about how that whole scene about him getting out and being crazed about Gabi, and I think it was just to show that he is waking up and he still remembers Gabi and loves Gabi, and so I think they did that to establish like this connection. Like even though he's been gone, she's the first person on his mind, and so
even in his subconscious.
I think he went to the crypt because he's like, man, have I really been gone for 4 years? What is going on here?
But
Why do I feel like this? What is this feeling?
But that's the thing. He is a man, not a robot. The only thing that Rolf conditioned him to do was be in love with Chloe and not Gabi. He didn't condition him to be a completely different person. He's still his own person. He's still we're working under the assumption that he still has, his faculties, that he is still, that cutthroat, businessman that we used to know. You didn't change everything about him. Change one thing.
No. All right. Since we have lingered on that for quite some time, and we still got a lot more show to do before our guest arrives, let's move on to it. We're going to go to our next storyline, which is Will, Sonny, I can't stand you, Michael, Leona, Sloan, Grace, Trask,
He's calling himself.
and Gwen. Okay, I will say, I think maybe I said it last time, or maybe I was just thinking it. I haven't been here in a while. I like the new direction of the Who Done Killed Abigail storyline. Because now I feel like, at first it was kind of like, okay, well, who killed Abigail? Like, when we, but now it's starting to be like a real like mystery as to like, okay, somebody else has some sort of other plan that's going on, and they're starting to frame Leo. So who has this vendetta against Leo?
And the idea that somebody has a vendetta, who, because it's like Leo hated Abigail and Sonny. Sonny and Abigail hated Leo. But the idea that there is someone who hates Abigail and Sonny and Leo enough to to knife two of them and frame one of them, it really does narrow down the list, if we even have a list of who would be on that list.
Can someone remind me what happened to Diana? Is she still alive or is she in jail? I couldn't remember if she died at the end of that storyline or is she just in jail. Because I immediately thought it was her, maybe. Because at first I thought it was her doing it to help Leo. Like, these people screwed over my son. I'm going to get them. And then part of me was like, oh, is she killing them, setting him up because she's mad at Leo because of, how things worked out? Oh, she's in jail. Okay, I thought she was in jail. Yeah. That's the only person I would think of that would have conflict with him enough to possibly do it, because we don't know of anyone else in Leo's history or on the show that
it's one thing to think of one person who would hate these people enough, yet let alone go through murder.
Well,
some people were saying it's Nancy, and I'm like, no,
Nancy.
You're not making Nancy Wesley a murderer.
No. And it wouldn't be. Some people say Craig too. I'm like, why would Craig?
No, it's not Craig. It's not Nancy. I think I honestly, and we were told that it was going to be, the killer was going to be a main character, but I'm starting to think we're going towards it's someone we don't even see yet. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those that it isn't around us right now.
Yeah.
Or they could just flip it and be like, oh, it's Gwen, and somehow switch it so that it's actually her. Or I had a theory that it was still Sarah, but I don't know how. I forgot why I thought that. We were having a discussion and I remember thinking, oh, so it still could be Sarah. But
I don't know. At this point, I have no idea, but I'm vested in finding out who it is. And especially with them stabbing Sonny with the murder weapon, with the murder knife that killed Abigail, and placing his vendetta list, is kind of like, you know who it is? Thomas.
He killed the tooth fairy.
Gosh.
Oh, God.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Bitch didn't leave me $1 or $50.
50,
Thomas is the one that did it. And obviously it isn't Leo because he's completely stressing out,
Yeah.
dressing up as a nurse, no makeup.
I will
Just
say
He's wearing
that
that wig.
okay.
I gotta give it to him. He wore that wig.
I will say Leo had a better disguise roaming around that hospital than Kristen
I was
did.
thinking that.
Yes.
What do you mean, Michael Matt? Is like I mean, you think if he just like put his hair down, then he would have been a completely different person?
Oh yeah, no one would have been the wiser, but he, made the effort anyway.
Mm.
That and a pair of glasses, yeah.
And the voice. Hi.
How do we feel about the Sloane character?
I love this woman. Every week it goes on, I fall more and more in love. When she came on, I was kind of like, oh, is this like a one-off character or whatever? And I know the actress has ties to reality TV, and I was like, oh, is this one of those like stunt casting things? But I have to say, I'm loving her more and more. Honestly, this is the most alive we've ever seen Rafe. I'm wondering, are we getting a Sloane Rafe thing? This is the most engaging he's ever been in his scenes with her.
Yes.
No one else, yeah. And I also like the theory too that she's Chad's cousin. We'll see. I don't know if we'll see how that works out. If that's just a thing. I don't think it is, but we'll see.
Yeah, but you just said it, Justin, and I'm glad that somebody other than me picked up on it. I'm sorry, Rafe has had zero chemistry with love interests. I don't see it. I've never seen it. And I looked at the screen this week and I was like, what the hell am I watching right now?
Yeah.
Is this Rafe having actual chemistry with someone?
Interesting. I mean, I find her interesting. She's Model S though. Like, she walks in and is just like runway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mode.
Up on the runway, feeling the runway, up on the runway. Feels very that. I thought she was going to be a one-off character too. I thought they were going to do this thing where like Alex is always hooking up with these random girls and like but then to see that she was the lawyer, I was like, oh, okay, good for her. But I do wonder like about her attorney skills because I'm like,
well, I mean that's par for the course when you're a Salem attorney.
Yeah.
Like look at Justin.
Oh,
and or do you think like integrity? Are you speaking integrity wise?
No, it's just like I don't know. Like I don't know if I don't know. Like I don't know. Maybe I look at her and I'm like,
Find your words.
You think she's shady? You're saying like she's a crooked attorney kind of thing. I saw look at her as like a match for Miranda. That's how I'm looking at her. Like she's like Miranda's opposite or like her match. So
like Travis would be like, oh, you're
Melinda.
Oh, sorry. I keep saying Miranda. Yeah, Melinda. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. I mean,
I think it's fun to have a character that can actually go toe to toe with Rafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't see that often. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's the one part I'm enjoying about the character. Up till now, I've just been kind of like, she's there, fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, this week with Rafe kind of started selling me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that she picked her career over Alex and was just like, okay, you're fun and all, but I'm not betraying my client for you, which I thought was cool.
Well, because in all honesty, she's kind of an Alex.
Yes.
But the female version.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like, listen, I can, yeah, I got a stressful job. I can get down with the get down, but like at the end of the day, you ain't that cute.
Yeah.
For me to be risking my job for. So I can find 10 other ones like you.
I was gonna say she's cute too, so she don't,
Exactly. Yeah. She's like, I know what I'm working with. I can have other fish.
This comment has a typo, but it's a funny typo.
Not trash and Salome. Tim.
That could be
what about trash? We got it, Tim. What am
It made me giggle.
moving on? Because I think we we didn't talk about Will. I'm glad to see.
Welcome.
I'm glad to see that Will obviously made it and is there and is
Mhm.
by Sonny's side while he tries to just kind of like figure this all out. I think as Days fans, I think that's the thing that we don't mind. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. You guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. We understand that not everyone can be on contract,
Mhm.
but it would
Mhm.
be nice just to have them pop in.
Yeah.
Is it weird that like Sonny is around without his partner? Yes, but I think as long as there's still a FaceTime, a
Mhm.
Zoom, hey, I'm coming in town just for a few, something, just to remind us, or even like other characters that like we want to see on Beyond Salem, but like you know why can't they guest star and pop in like a Chelsea or a or who else? Just other people
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you
Well, I
know.
think that this is the unexpected gift that the pandemic gave us, is that because of the circumstances of the pandemic, they realized that some people might not be able to get back to set. Some people, might be stuck somewhere. People might have other obligations that we're at a point in life that we can't get rid of, as the Missy Reeves situation has been, where she's taking the time now with her family, which is her right.
Yeah,
We realize that, let's do what we have to do for the show, but let's realize that, we and I think the move to Peacock will help this as well. We'll get more funding, we'll get a little more flexibility, and who says that it has to all be filmed in order? If we
It's not
can't have,
now.
it's not now. So if
Things are
Will,
taped. Things are taped so like it's
yeah, mishmash.
Frankenstein
So
together.
yeah,
Yeah.
so Will can come back and maybe they film, like, if the scripts are written long enough, we could have Chandler Massey in for whatever time we have with him, and then let's air out of order, so that the fans and the actors get everybody. There's ways now to have. I refuse to believe that in the 21st century there are now ways to get everybody what they need,
right.
and this is what
They were able to pull off. They were able to
Corday
pull off
and
Peter Reckel
Peacock.
and put him
Yes.
in. They were able to putting Peter Reckel in the main show for a minute.
Yeah, that was. I'm not sure if we discussed that or we were told that his scenes were filmed like months after that original
Yeah.
scene was filmed. So yeah.
Yeah. Um, Oh, that's what I was going to say. I was like, oh my God, I was going to say something. Side note, quick shout out to the 213 people who are
I
watching
know.
us live
Oh,
right now.
cool.
The
Uh,
213 people who were like, "Where the hell is Brandon?"
yeah,
But
most likely. Yeah,
People,
they're like,
as
what
you
is
said,
Poor
what is
50.
this?
Listen,
You
as
know,
long as you hit that like button and subscribe,
Unless they
it's
think
all
I'm
good.
him, I've been
It's
told I
all
didn't
good.
put no money.
maybe we'll do a side by side comparison later. But if you guys are brand new with us, this is our podcast Dishin Days, where we recap days of our lives every week. So welcome and thank you guys so much for watching. Uh, we've heard that a few times too. But would side note, would people be ready for that?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the question.
we're gonna have to wait
Because
into it.
we have heard from the actors, some of those scenes are filmed that way for the Peacock stuff.
I think it depends on how it's presented.
Yeah.
I think that would make a difference. Okay, so now let's get back to our last top storyline, which is Jack, Jennifer, Maggie, Sarah, Xander, and Gwen. First off, congratulations to Sarah and Xander.
Yeah.
Finally, yes.
The final wedding Days of Our Lives ever
Mhm.
aired on NBC, and
And it took
think
place
it was
in the Horton
beautiful.
house.
It was in the
Yeah.
Horton house. It was, oh God, those vows were beautiful. The
Mhm.
characters fulfilled my wish of wearing exactly what they wore when they were supposed to get married in the first place, because they looked stunning.
I loved
And
Xander's swoop.
Yeah.
his swoop, oh my god, everything about it. And people were saying, well, what, it shouldn't have been a bigger wedding. I'm like, no, this was the perfect send off to Peacock. It was beautiful. And this is why we love Sarah and Xander. It's also because Lindsay and Paul have such they're such good friends in real life that oh my god, the chemistry between them, it was just I can't I have no more beautiful words for them.
It's great.
Well done.
And of course, seeing Maggie, marry them, and I love Xander just being like, Maggie, can we just get to the part?
Yes, yeah.
Can we skip all this?
Yeah.
And that was really sweet. And then of course here come Gwen. I'm like, girl, if you don't go find an apartment, like you realize,
Go find an apartment.
like you keep getting in and out of jail, and then wandering to places that like don't nobody want you at. It's like, girl. And then she was feeling her own kind of way because she went back to her hotel and whipped out her picture of her and Xander, and I was like, oh. But it's not you, boo. You shouldn't have been here in your relationship, and you should have just looked at him and said, "You want me or Sarah?" Well, fine, go get her. Packed up your little raggedy duffel bag and went on to that Roach Motel.
But she's gonna have to figure it out. She realized that she got out of jail this week, and that is the only one she's gonna get.
Yeah,
she's gonna have to figure it out.
Do you all think that Jack was in the right of getting Gwen a lawyer?
Oh God.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it still annoyed me. But I'm like, yeah, he's her father. This is consistent with how he's treated her ever since he's found out that she's his daughter.
But I also feel like he feels like she did not kill Abigail.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
we're
gonna
help her. Yeah.
And here's the thing: did he do the right thing as a father? Yes. As a husband, he is completely missing every single warning sign. And quite frankly, we should have seen the signs because Katie
I saw
has
the sign.
Jennifer,
and it opened up my eyes, but I saw the sign.
Anyways, Jennifer, moving beyond the 80s, Jennifer
90s
has an addiction.
How dare you?
Yes, she does.
I was born in 92. Give me a break. Okay, so Jennifer, we know Jennifer has an addiction. That we missed how stoic and how understanding Jennifer Rose has been.
And she has just been pushing it all down, probably. Yeah.
I can't believe we missed it.
It's funny because when you look back from the time that Katie came back, there was something about the way she was portraying Jennifer, which was maybe slightly different from the way she was. And I chalked it up to, this is just her playing the grief. Yep. And this is just her, play. But now I'm looking back and I was like, I wonder if that was intentional on her part to leading up to this. If she was given that nugget of information, it's like, by the way, you're going to be a pill popper again. Try to figure out a way to, play into that. And so, and I'm glad that we have Katie as Jennifer. No shade to Missy Reeves. We like both of them, but Katie's, doing good.
Yeah, agreed. I think the introduction of the pain medication again is going to be very interesting as an addition, and it also makes sense because of everything that she's going through. That she probably is just tired of being hurt.
She's tired of being the strong one, and that, take it from me, that takes its toll. Having to, it's hard enough losing a daughter, but we forget that she lost her mom too. So in the span of 2 years, she's lost her mother, she's lost her daughter. She has gained a stepdaughter who tried to ruin her life. And she's just expected to be kind and understanding. And
sometimes you get sick and tired of being the kind, understanding, patient one.
Yes.
When you
How much
want
are you
to be the bitch?
Yes. You don't want it to come out that way, but you get to a point where am I not allowed to be human?
Yeah. Why aren't I allowed my, emotions? Why aren't I allowed to be, angry or whatever? And then, it's got to come out somehow. or it's got to be, you know,
processed.
But we did get, speaking of Laura, we got another insistence from Gwen that she did not kill.
Can that be?
Laura
Can that be
intentionally.
it? Can that be like?
Yeah.
That has to be
it.
it.
It was an accident. She didn't kill Laura. Period. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want this brought up again, because when it was brought up again, when she did the that whisper to Abigail, it was kind of like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
And then now she's like, it was an accident. I'm like, okay, put it to bed.
Yeah, let's not go back. Like, honestly,
not go
I don't
back.
feel like they should have gone back on that. I feel like when she whispered that to Abigail, I almost feel like that should have been a shift where she admitted it and didn't go back on it. You know what I mean? I felt like that would have, I don't know. I just, that moment, I was like, well, first of all, maybe I was just happy that it was like, okay, we finally have an answer. But then backtracked and like, oh no, that wasn't, you know, no, I was just saying that to be a bitch. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I don't know. I would have liked to seen how it went if they didn't have Gwen backtrack like that.
My mom said I hit the nail on the head.
With what?
With
sometimes you just want to be the bitch.
Want to be yep. And in true Dylan Matthews fashion, as I was checking, hey, everyone's just messaging me today. As I was getting that text from my mom, I got an email from Dylan with that gif of my face.
Of course, he works fast.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just wait. Oh wait, did I?
Oh my gosh.
Like, honestly, I was just like, are you serious? Like, look at that, just already.
Dang, Dylan, good job on you.
Wait. All right. So we will see what happens with that. We're gonna move things right along and go into our tidbits. But before we do, just a quick reminder: please follow us on all social media platforms. They're listed down below. Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and _Dishin Days on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and also check us out on all of your favorite podcast stations. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And also buy our merch, dishindays.threadless.com. All right, now let's get into some tidbits, and then we're going to get into our segment. And then our special guest, Brandon Barash, will be on the line with us live. So Orpheus, Rolf, Kayla, Steve, John, Marlena, Kate, Roman, Jada, Eric. Before we get into all that, I just want to give a round of applause to Days for allowing us to see the super couple Marlena and John be romantical multiple times.
When I tell you social media was very appreciative.
Oh yeah, those Twitter, those John and Marlena Twitter fans, man. Finally, Ron was like, "Let me shut them up. They're not just gonna do it; they're gonna do it twice."
Yeah, and it was very much, come on up and swing sometime. Although, to be honest, I will never look at the strawberries and whipped cream the same again, because remember, that's when she got poisoned.
That's always their thing. Yeah.
I'll always be like, so kudos to that. Listen, there's something about Orpheus and the way that he is that is so intriguing. It's very old school days where he keeps kidnapping these people and then, like, you know, putting them through all this, you know, these riddle me this, riddle me that. How is that big black cat? You know, that sort of a thing. And but it's still never over. Like, there's still more to come. There's still something just around the river bend. So I don't know. I like that his presence shakes people up a little bit.
I
get it. I know, because
he can't know everything that he can't know. He can't know everything that's going on with everybody the way that they're writing this character to be. He somehow knew that Rolf had the lab. He knew how to get in. He knew how to get into all his equipment. He had everything figured out. And I'm like, when did you have time to do this?
Well,
that
the other thing is that if you
I don't buy it.
it's not a lab, it's a basement. and it wasn't some secure. It was a cabinet, not some secure lockbox.
But you have to know that it's there. How did he know it was
Yeah.
there? I need to see how he's figuring all this shit out. Rather than him just coming into a scene, having it all figured out and being like, to me, there's just a disconnect. And I'm like, okay, we're just supposed to buy that he, found his way down there, discovered it, whatever. I want to know. I want to see how.
Well,
Otherwise, I don't buy it.
You buying the fact that they kept Stefan on ice for 4 years and just woke him up, right?
Yeah.
I can buy that, yeah.
Get out of here, Michael Madsen. Get out of here.
The same way I can buy that they were all kept alive in Nashville in that bunker or whatever the hell they were doing. With all the names on the board.
I can't.
I think, no. Tony and I are
No, I'm with you a bit. I like Orpheus. I think he's intriguing. I like that he's around. Honestly, I could have done without the whole kidnapping of the 3 women and just led into
it was quick
at the end of it. I thought that was more intriguing to me. Whatever he poisoned them with, or however he got them to ingest that, that to me was the intriguing part, not the kidnapping with the silly riddles and. I could have done without that. That to me was like mustache twirling villain, and like the stuff at the end was like more Orpheus.
Well, because it was a smoke screen. It was never his.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we
know that now.
Yeah.
But watching it, it was kind of like, oh, this is kind of silly. But yeah, I'm intrigued by him.
Yeah. Can we talk about?
But I also think if he didn't do the kidnapping thing, he could have done this poison stuff a little bit more discreet. Now it's sort of like he's sort of shown his hand.
Well, no, but showing his hand, that is something Orpheus has never had a problem with.
I just thought he would get out of jail and be a little bit more mysterious.
I know. He got business to handle.
Yeah. He wants them to know.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Jada and Eric is... wait, why are they in this? Oh yeah, because Jada.
Jada scolded everybody.
So did. Well, and listen, you know what? Rightfully so. Because you know why? Because we scold the Salem, and Roman was like, "Well, things work different around here." I'm like, "Well, Jada's like, listen, baby, I don't know what y'all doing in this city, but y'all ain't doing it right, honey."
Yeah.
And it's funny because Roman used to do that to everyone else. He was the sort of goody two shoes cop when John or Steve would go rogue or Bo. He was the one to drag them in and be like, "You can't do this. We gotta do it by the book." So I thought it was funny that now he's sort of on the other side of it.
And
hello from the other side.
And I like that coming from her, it didn't come off condescending or exceptionally rude. It really came off as no, I'm a police officer. This is my job, which I am trained for and have a current license to practice. None of you are in the ISA anymore. One of you runs a pub. You should have called the police.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to the next tidbit. To Alex, Victor, and Stephanie. All I'm gonna say is this. Unbeknownst to Victor, he didn't know how Alex was towards Stephanie. But Alex, cool your jets. You're now the fill-in CEO while Sonny is like laying on his back like this because he can't lay on his back like this. So, be professional. Stephanie's trying to keep it cute. She's trying to keep her job. She's not about you. So just let that go. Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
I would have been like, peace, bye. Sonny's incapacitated for now. He was the only reason I'm here. Why am I taking this crap from Victor, who I don't really care for? I'm now forced to work with Alex. I have another better job, which is what I came to Salem to do. It's a little shoehorned in. That scene was just like, why is Stephanie there? Why is she taking this crap from Victor? Like, we just spent 2 weeks talking about how she doesn't want to be there, and she's only doing this as a favor to Sonny. So I was like, oh, okay. That's
why she's doing it for Sonny.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, she's going to bite the bullet. She's got some clients in Salem. She's going to collect her coins and keep it moving.
There you go.
Period. All right. Well, speaking of Stephanie, looks like the pre-polls and focus groups are in. Paulina Price Carver for governor.
Good.
I like this direction. Yeah. I really like this.
One of you brought that up in a previous episode that it was going to transition to her running. I can't remember who did. It was either Justin or Araceli.
Must have been you, Araceli.
I don't remember. I don't remember that, but I think,
maybe it wasn't. Maybe I imagined the whole thing.
I think but I think
maybe it was in the chat.
An interesting twist, because we're all thinking, oh my gosh, Abe is such a good man. He's he would make such a great governor. All true, but then the more Stephanie talked, we're like,
Yeah. Well, okay. Show of hands. Who would vote for Abe for governor?
I'd go for Abe. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
It would depend.
Hold on. Let me rephrase this. Yeah. On the ballot, in order to get the pre-nomination for the actual nomination, we have Abe and Paulina. Are you voting for Abe? Raise your hand.
I'm still going to vote for Abe.
Are you voting for Paulina?
Really? Over Abe, though?
Here's the thing. Like, Stephanie made a point.
I'm leaning Abe.
Stephanie made a point of, like, Abe is very nice. He, and everything. But sometimes you gotta get somebody in there that's going to really, like, get in there, and I feel like Abe will kind of be like, okay, I see where we need to go, but we're gonna travel this path. And Paulina's like hell we gonna go over here. And I think that's what people want. They want, so everything that Stephanie was saying was actually making sense, where I was like, I mean, come on, Paulina.
And speaking as a woman, we vote for the self-made, check, a loving mother, check, been through trauma and come out the other side, check. She ticks all the boxes. Strong leadership. She just ticks all of these boxes.
Haven't they already?
Is it Salem in
Illinois? It's Illinois. Yeah, it's Illinois. Yeah. They won't say it's Illinois, but it's Illinois.
Yeah. So
they've said it. They've said it on the show.
They've said it.
I swear to God. And then at one point they had a map of Illinois on the.
Oh, maybe.
That's why everybody goes to Chicago, and not New York.
Yeah. So it's right there. All right. Well, we'll see how this all plays out. And that has been Days for this week. And now we're heading into our favorite part of the show, which are our segments. We are not going to start with mine, because I'm going to save mine for later. So we're going to move on to our next person, which is
Caption that.
Which you're not supposed to do. Anyway.
Oh, Michael Madden. Double click.
Okay, the loop button goes on automatically, and annoying. Anyway, this week's Caption That Photo comes courtesy of Ava and I was going to say Brandon Stefan's meeting in the Dimera crypt. And this week's caption goes to our queen of sass mouth, Bizarro Megan Bizarro. Always good for a quip. Yeah. With her caption, "When you've been asleep for 4 years and now puff sleeves are back."
That's funny.
Oh yeah,
great.
And that was
Caption That.
And now it's time for
Those were the days.
Okay, this week's segment, we take you back to September 8th, 1997, where we had Austin and Carrie married for the first time. Couple of wedding pictures, again, first time. And then we have a pic of them recently. They are still married, not from that time period, but they survived Sammy, they survived Lucas, they survived Vivian's meddling, they survived the Will paternity saga.
They survived Mike Horton.
Yes, to finally get married, September 8th, 1997. This week's Those Were the Days.
I was so mad because school had just started. And it was like the second day of class, and I couldn't stay home because Days was on at 1, and I couldn't stay home to watch it. And I had been waiting and it was great because I think I had read in Soap Opera Digest about the punch. I think they had the pictures of Carrie and Allie Sweeney just being like Family Guy, fall down. And yeah, I was very upset that I couldn't stay home. But my VCR worked that day, so
Days. And now it's time for It's a Gift.
This week's It's a Gift goes to Mr. Zach Tinker as Sonny Kyriakis, and the space where I feel it could be used for multiple purposes, but it's like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? Is there a drag queen in my hospital room? And that was this week's It's a Gift. Thank you, Zach Tinker, for your emoting.
I love that. And now it's time for a bit of news and gossip.
Yes, starting off in our latest sort of quest to move over to Peacock. I know some of you this week was not so great in terms of watching days because you found yourself preempted for some places. A lot of them were preempted Thursday, and some were preempted Friday, and some were even, which is just a slap in the face, you watched the show and then you were preempted the last scene of Days of Our Lives on NBC. So very sorry to hear that. Hopefully you caught it on NBC before it was taken off because it will not air on NBC.com anymore. So just another reason to go to flock to Peacock if you can and sign up for it because you will never have to worry about a preemption again. Moving on, the cast has been doing.
I don't think they have NBC.com anymore.
Yeah, Oh, not even now. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I've been on Peacock for a while, so show that. Next up, we have, if you've seen the fun, cute ad with Stephen Nichols and Mary Beth, what you didn't see was he now posted on Instagram at Stephen E. Nichols the blooper reel that it took for them to get that ad. It's just them just showing their relationship, being silly and laughing and shooting in their dressing room. It was all in one take. So it's them trying to get it together to do it. And it's just a little cause of it. We know their sort of 40-year friendship and love for each other, and go check it out, please. Next up, our very own Mr. Tony Moore recently spent some time with the cast and talked about their move to Peacock. Tony, if you have any info to share about that.
They're all very excited, and if you are a loyal fan, just move on over to Peacock.
Yes. Tony also plays some fun games with them, so go check it out on Dishin Days. On our YouTube channel. And last but not least, the September promo that Peacock is running to gather new subscribers, specifically Days fans, is still going on. Again, it is going out for the month of September. $199 a month for 12 months for new customers only. Sorry about existing customers and everyone who signed up before that, but new customers, $199 a month for 12 months, so you can access all of Peacock. Again, not just Days of Our Lives, but all of Peacock in Universal.
Very vast library.
Yes. And they have been
now
building up their offering. So go check it out.
And now the Bay is moving over there. That online soap, the Bay is going to be on Peacock, and then Peacock's going to be the exclusive streaming home for all of NBC's primetime shows. I know, like you said, NBC.com is gone, and whatever was on Hulu is not going to be on Hulu anymore, and you got Real Housewives and all that good stuff. So it's worth the $20. Just pay the $20 and you have it for a year.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. I had some time, so I was replying to a lot of people's comments about, well, you're neglecting the older generation, and I'm like, there are people who are over 50 who already have Peacock. So don't pretend that because people are older that they're not they don't know about technology or how to sign up.
My dad is 72. My dad is 72 and he operates his Roku just as well as I do, if not better. So
if you're concerned, honestly, take the time and teach them. I just signed up, and my mom's not old by any means, but I signed her up for Peacock. She is loving it. She has had to watch Jada because she's watched it on as it aired this week, but she has been infatuated with everything else. Law and Order, that's her jam, and all the movies that are on there. So yeah, again, we'd always talk about it's the whole Peacock. It's the whole offerings. It's not just, you're not just paying $199 or $499 just for Days.
And to the complainers, I would like to point you to a video done by Mr. Abe Carver himself, who reminded us all that once upon a time, soaps were on the radio. And people complained and hooped and hollered about television. Well, we don't have a television. Well, guess what happened? Everybody bought a television. Get with the times.
And the time is now.
Yes. All right. Moving on, we have some good news for one of our favorites, Mr. Trevor Donovan. He has been announced as part of the cast of Dancing with the Stars for season now 31. I can't believe it. And this season, this year is going to air September 19th on Disney Plus exclusively. So I don't think it'll be airing on ABC, which is what it used to air on, but Disney Plus exclusively. Trevor Donovan, if you watch his Instagram or seen him in person, he's a really jovial, fun sort of prankster guy. So it'd be interesting to sort of see him on the show and see more of his personality. And yeah, so go check it out. And some more casting news, one we've talked about a lot this week and month, Mr. Remington Hoffman. He has been cast in the new Tyler Perry show. It's a spinoff of the show Sisters that airs on BET Plus. This one is called Zatima, which is a spinoff of two of the characters from Sisters. He plays a series regular on this show, and it's 10 episodes. BET Plus premieres September 29th. So yeah, big congratulations to Remington. And because it's a 10 episode season, I believe it's already aired, so I don't think this will affect his time on Days, but we'll see. But yeah, big congratulations to him. And last but not least, we have our Spectrum Celebrity events. So going on, we have two next week, one with Mr. Colton Little, next one with Greg Rickard and Patricia Darbo. All tickets and information, please go to spectrumcelebrityevents.com. Hope to see
And
you.
they will both be hosted
Yes.
by me. Yay! All right, so we are going to give you a look, which I'm sure you guys have seen it already, but later on in the show, we will give you a sneak peek again at the fall preview. But now we are going to bring in our very special guest. You know him as first Stefan, then ex-Stefan, then Jake, and then ex-Jake, and then now Stefan again. So let's bring in, for the first time on our show, Mr. Brandon Barash. Hello.
Yo, how's it going?
Welcome to Dishin Days.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah.
We're super excited to have you on. And well, first of all, we're just still excited to have you on Days because each time they kill you off, we get a little worried.
Yeah.
We don't know what they're going to do with you.
Well, I did enjoy your super accurate and because it's super accurate, super confusing introduction. Because I mean, I'll see people in the hallways who I don't, normally work with, and they're like, "So who are you playing now?"
Yeah.
And it's a genuine question. There's no sarcasm. They actually want to know. So
It's like,
And
it's
I
like,
love-
who are you today?
yeah, right. I logged on right when you guys were talking about James Reynolds and what he said about the transition to the Peacock, and I just want to touch on that really quick because it's so true what you said, and what he said was soaps were exclusively radio, and then they went on TV, as you said, and if you didn't get a TV, you didn't watch. And so now the future is going to be streaming. We've known that for years. It's been headed that way. And what I want to say to the fans out there with peace and love is don't cut your noses off to spite your face.
Yeah.
This wasn't my decision. This wasn't any of the actors' decisions. To make a TV production or a movie, it takes, let's just stick with TV because movies don't have networks, but it takes a production company, it takes a studio, it takes a network, and then it takes advertising executives to keep the shows on the air, to pay for ad time, et cetera, et cetera. There are so many cooks in the kitchen, in the proverbial kitchen, right, that it's not under our control whether we stayed on NBC or not. So if you love the show and you have had a genuine love for that show for however long you've been watching, 10 days, 10 years, 5 decades, come over to the Peacock and watch us, because we didn't do it to piss you off. We didn't do it because we're greedy and we want more money. Okay? Some people who have offices that are in very high buildings made that decision. So follow us because we want you to. And don't cut your noses off despite your pretty little face.
I'm so glad you said that. And so many people reiterate that because, reading the comments and how people are feeling about the move to Peacock, everyone is up in an uproar like, well, I've been watching the show for 57 years for free. Why would I pay now? Well, because this is just where it's going now.
You were already paying for it.
Yeah.
You were paying for it with your cable subscription.
Yeah.
And I haven't had cable for I don't know how long. I have been subscription based for do you? Yeah, I have been subscription based for a really long time now. And almost everybody I know out here is subscription based. It just cable doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, if you're really upset about it and you've been with us for a long time, take a look at how you can restructure your TV watching, and it's much easier than you think. And you know, go all in on some subscriptions instead.
It ends up being more cost effective.
It is. It is 100%.
And a whole new world will open. You will discover things you can watch. Exactly. Yeah. You're like, I can watch Barnaby Jones again.
First of all, Brandon, you fit into this show magically because you get our fun, our whimsicalness, all of that.
Thank you.
Whimsicalness?
Yeah. It's
hey man, I'll buy it.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. You see, like he already gets the Tony Dictionary. Like it may not be a word, but we're gonna go with it.
We're gonna roll with it anyway.
So, Brandon, I wanted to ask you. So, first of all, I absolutely loved your transition from Stefan to Jake. I felt like as an actor, I just for some reason imagine you like getting the role and like walking around your house and being like, how does Jake walk? How does he talk? How does he do all this? And like the way that you presented him was completely different than like Stefan. So you know, seeing Stefan dead last week and then seeing Jake appear the next week, it didn't feel like, oh well, I don't know if he's got it yet, because like I feel like you had it right off the bat. So I had to start with that. But I wanted to know what?
You're dead on. It's really funny because that's I think why I got involved in acting in the first place is I would sit in my room when I was a little boy for hours and just make faces in the mirror and like, I want to try and look like Jack Nicholson now. Now I want to try and look like, you know, and it was all about the transformation for me. So yeah, when I went from Stefan to Jake, I wanted there to be a very clear distinction between the two characters. And how often do you get to play how often does a leading man or woman get to play a character role on a soap opera? And so I wanted to, and this was done in collaboration with Ron and Albert and the team, but I wanted to make him very different. And so I did. It was, how does he walk? How does he talk? How does he think? What are his internal RPMs, if that makes sense? Like his and Stefan's are very, very like vastly different.
Yeah.
And I remember I thought I had an extra week or two to prepare when I first started as Jake. And it happened that they needed me, or they were shooting my opening stuff as Jake sooner than I had anticipated. And I was with my daughter at Legoland on a long weekend trip. I was like, shit, can I curse on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll pretend like this is Peacock.
Yeah, there you go, right? Like, when's that going to happen, right? Like, when are we going to start seeing body parts and curse words? That's what I want.
Body parts.
So we can touch on that. We can touch on that in a minute. But so I was at Legoland with my daughter, and I was like, shit, I thought I had at least another week on this. I guess I got to just go for it. So, you know, I had my hat on and my sunglasses and we were walking around Legoland and I just started trying Jake on, like talking to like the vendors and the people in line and trying to figure out how he would operate in different scenarios. Cause I knew if I showed up to work on Monday or Tuesday, unsure of him, the camera's going to see that. Yeah. And there's nothing worse than seeing an actor going for something halfway. It's just the secondhand embarrassment is terrible. Well, I knew I had to have it down, and that was my practice.
Well, it worked, but now I'm trying to picture your daughter's reaction to you walking around as a different person in the middle of Legoland.
So I had to make it. That's a very good point you made. I made it very subtle, and she was significantly younger then. So it was before the pandemic. So it was summer of 2019. So she was 5.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
So she was still, not fully booted up yet. She was lower to the ground. So I
Yeah.
lean in and talk to somebody. You know what I mean? But at one point she said, "Daddy, what's that voice?" I was like, "Oh,
Okay.
it's for a job. I got to try it out." She was like, "Oh, okay." And, I
Yeah.
just
That was it.
kind of shot straight with her on it. But
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, she noticed and she called me out.
Good pickup.
Yeah.
Daughter of actors right
Yeah.
there.
I
So
know.
you clearly did the work to make Jake a completely different character from Stefan and really sold it for the years you were Jake. Did you have any issues when, like, your first scenes as Stefan? Did you struggle a bit kind of getting out of Jake and back into Stefan, or did it just kind of happen organically?
No, there was not a struggle, and if anything, getting to know Stefan made getting to know Jake made getting to know Stefan again much easier, and
Okay.
it was really interesting because I mentioned earlier about RPMs, right?
Mhm.
It's when I'm approaching a character, I think a lot about that. Like, I know how this person, can operate on the outside, but how do they operate on the inside? What are their thought processes? Do they think in a linear way, or are they kind of all over the place? Stefan's very linear. Jake is just like, his space time is not in, like, it's not in a straight line at all.
Yeah.
And so after all of the, waking up in Rolf's lab and going crazy, like, "Oh, where the fuck am I? Give me my wife." After all that, when I actually, and I think that stuff is starting to air now, Stefan has a stillness inside and out about him that Jake knows nothing about. Jake's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go over here, and hey, how you doing? What you want to go at? You want to go at? You want to go get some hoagies? Like, what are we doing?"
Mhm.
And Stefan is just like, he's laser focused, and so it was easier for me to tap back into Stefan, having not played him for 4 years, because I got to know Jake so well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you gonna miss most about Jake?
How funny he was and happy-go-lucky, and how he was just kind of a gregarious dude.
Yeah.
And I loved how light he was. Stefan is not light. That's another thing. The weight in and it's not just, I don't mean like how someone stands, but it's the weight in their body, in their souls that you feel. Stefan has a very distinct heaviness to him. Whereas Jake is just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
How did you find out that they were killing Jake and bringing Stefan back, and what were your thoughts about it?
Can you see this monster? You can't see him.
Uh-uh.
This is, come here, Rupee, come here.
Oh, we're gonna get down here.
We
This
love
is
a dog
Rupert.
moment.
Yes.
This is Rupert.
Hey, wow.
He is my giant Muppet of a. He's doing laps around the dining room.
Oh,
table.
he wants your attention.
Yeah. Well, he just got a bath upstairs, and he's just going crazy.
He's like, I feel so fresh and clean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, what was I answering?
How did you find out about them killing Jake and bringing back Stefan in? What were your thoughts?
I was at the gym one day, and it was so interesting how it happened, because we were all synced, almost telepathically. It was weird. We were on our way, my lady and I were on our way to the gym one day, and she's like, "What's going on with you?" I said, I'm not satisfied at work. I'm having a really hard time. Like, it's just not doing it for me. And, I feel like Jake has hit a wall. No one quite knows what to do with him anymore. And that's me included.
Yeah.
The caveat of playing a character type role on a soap opera as a leading man or woman is that there's really not much longevity there, right? Because those aren't the kind of stories that are written on soaps. So I expressed to her that, like, I just feel kind of stuck and I don't know what to do. And it was crazy, because 20 minutes later, I'm at the gym stretching out, like I'm on the foam roller, like rolling myself out, getting ready for a workout. And I see that my boss, Albert, is calling me. I was like, Well, okay, guess I'm getting fired.
Yeah.
And so I pick up the phone and he's like, hey, man, you got a second to talk? I was like, yeah, what's going on? He said, well, good news. You don't have to sit down. I was like, oh, okay, great. He said, but Jake's time is going to come to an end. And guess who we're bringing back? And my exact words to him were, you motherfucker. I said, Stefan Dimera.
Wow.
Right? He said, yep. And I was so happy.
Wow.
Because I was feeling like Jake had hit a wall. They felt like Jake had hit a wall. And it was just, I was so excited.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Brandon, what do you attribute to? So, like, we all kind of felt the same way that you did, that kind of Jake had hit a wall. He didn't really have the same chemistry in business, in his personal life, the way that Stefan did. He didn't have that, like you had said earlier, that like linear thinking. So it felt like without direction, we didn't know where he was going.
Yeah.
So what do you attribute specifically to the fact that you, Brandon, have been working as both Jake and Stefan with Camilla, who plays Gabi, and yet only one of your characters has like off the charts chemistry with her?
Yeah. I don't know. I attribute that to the characters.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's all character based for me. It's, chemistry between two actors goes beyond the actors. It transcends into the roles, right? And so it's very difficult. Please stop. I love you. It transcends the actors into the characters. And so that is fascinating that Jake and Gabi did not have the same chemistry as Stefan and Gabi.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to they're just two very different people.
Yeah. Speaking of Camila, you've gotten to work with a lot of the wonderful women of Salem. Emily O'Brien, Lauren Coslow, Camila, and Tamara Vaughn. Like, what is it like working with those dynamic women? Because they are all amazing. And add you to the bunch, it was always a good time.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an honor to work with each of them. They all kind of bring something different to the table.
Mm-hmm.
They're all different kind of actors or actresses, and it's. I feel blessed to have had the partners that I've had, and each of them are so talented in their own right.
Were there any of those relationships that you wish were explored a little bit more?
That's a good question.
Because when we were first introduced to Jake, there was the whole thing with Jake and Gwen. But then, of course, we were coming off of. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I loved working with Emily O'Brien. She's a treat.
Yeah. Those are really good. Like it's like each one of those women, like whether you were Stefan or Jake, like there was always something about those relationships that it was just connected for that time. And even the time with Jake and Kate, it seemed at first people were like, wait a minute, but then it just started to make sense, and then all of a sudden it just went away. So
right, yeah. I think that was more of like they weren't sure. Nobody was quite sure where Jake fit in. Yeah. And Jake was a Dimera at the end of the day, and Dimeras are a very specific breed of people. They're cunning, they're calculating, they're deliberate, they're they're ruthless, and Jake just wasn't that type of guy, and so I think that was part of it too.
Yeah, but if we didn't have that interaction with Jake and Kate, we wouldn't have got one of my favorite moments. Was when she pretended to be blind and
that whole story.
So, I forgot about that.
No, let me tell you how seriously we took that here.
Yes.
The cane that she used was a nominee in our Dishin Days award show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nominated for what?
Was it best duo?
It was best duo. Kate and
best duo. Kate and her king were nominated as best duo. Listen, those moments where she pretended to be blind, and then when she wasn't around anyone, she was like in her room reading a magazine. Like, I lived for those moments.
Oh my God, they were great. And she, like, how great was Lauren in that storyline? She nailed it.
Yeah,
I sat there reading those scripts thinking, how is this going to go down? Like, I can't wait to see how Lauren plays this. And she crushed it. It was great. Yeah.
Brandon, I want to ask, for as long as we've had EJ on the show, he's never really had a match in the Dimera family. And now we have Stefan now, who, when he was first around, EJ wasn't around. So I know you probably can't tell as much, but has EJ met his match, or EJ and Kristen met their match in Stefan?
Oh, Stefan and EJ are going to mix it up plenty. Okay. There will be no shortage of fraternal drama.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fraternal drama.
Yeah.
Because
we've never had that. Sometimes they've tried to do it with Chad and EJ, and it just the power dynamic has never really been there. But someone like he's sort of his own man coming in, and
well, when Stefan first entered the scene, the Dimera house was pretty empty at that time. Now all of the brothers are around.
Yeah. Chad and Stefan would mix it up a little bit every once in a while. Like you said, there was no EJ. Christian came around every once in a while. But it's a very full dynamic.
Yeah.
Going back to when you first started as Stefan a few years back, there was a lot of controversy around that character based on a storyline that happened before you. By the time you came on, that storyline had kind of wrapped up. It was still kind of lingering. But there was some controversy around the character and how he and Abigail entangled while she had mental illness. Were you briefed? Like, was there any hesitation of coming into this character knowing that, or did you have like a full scope of the character? And
I
did you work to kind of destigmatize the character, I guess?
I wanted to destigmatize the character a little bit. Yeah. And so, there were moments where I tried to inject some humor into some situations. I also just think it's fun to watch, someone who's bad, not take himself so seriously all the time. I think that's, those moments are fun. But it wasn't a concern for me because at the end of the day, it's make-believe. And if the people watching can't discern reality from make-believe, then that's on them. I will say, I did get some hate messages on Twitter from some people, calling me a racist, a rapist. And it was just like, dude, come on. Like, first of all, it's make-believe. Second of all, I don't write it. I get pages and I act it out to the best of my ability. So I'm going to
add a third of all to that.
Yeah.
I watched you as Johnny on General Hospital, and anything that Stefan Dimera ever did pales in comparison to everything that character did.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I experienced a lot of it then too. A lot of people at fan events would start yelling at me. I'm like, come on.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. That character was a mess.
Yeah.
Well, how do you?
I'd love to watch him, but it was a mess.
Brandon, how do you handle that? Because I feel like, you may have to handle it a little differently than us. Sometimes I have time, so I will clap back. And even sometimes you don't.
I don't even bother. No.
Good for you.
No, you can't try and rationalize with an irrational mind. Right?
Yeah.
You're just gonna make an ass out of yourself at the end of the day. I'm not calling you an ass.
Are you already? First time on the show, Brandon, you call me an ass?
Well, no. But you can't. You cannot rationalize with someone who is not a rational thinking human being. And so, and also it just, it never looks good, I don't think, for actors or, people in the position that we're in to get into it with fans about storyline stuff.
Yeah. There's a saying, don't feed the trolls. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're exactly. When you give them what they want, they just run with it. And it's like
they're hungry exactly. And they're insatiable. Right?
By not doing anything, you're taking their power to make you miserable away. So
like I'll read the comments and be like, oh, Okay, sure.
Okay, block.
Oh,
Yeah.
the block button is my favorite.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Just quickly.
Use your blocks, people.
Or when I'll tweet about something that is not even remotely political.
Mhm.
Or that doesn't remotely align with where I stand politically. And people just start reaming me. It's like, are you really? Y'all need
Yeah.
some hobbies
Yeah.
outside of
Twitter,
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twitter.
You know?
Yeah. People have too much time on their
Buy
hands.
a puzzle.
Well, speaking of people, we do have a lot of questions in our chat room for you. Before we put up the first one, I do have to let you know that my mother is currently watching the show. She does not
Hi,
join
Mom.
the chat room. She just simply
Aw.
texts me any and everything that she has to say.
What does she
So
have to say?
she wanted me to tell you hi.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah,
I miss you.
yeah, and pretty soon something else is going to come into. So I have to keep my phone here because that's how she participates. Even though I say,
Okay.
"Mom, you can log on," and like there's a
Yeah.
whole. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to text
Oh my
you.
God.
You can't argue with your mom. So
Nope.
I just wait for the text
Nope.
message.
Yeah. Just like you can't argue with an irrational person, you can't argue with
Irrational.
the moms,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and just like that, she goes, "Miss you more."
Aw.
Oh. Brandon,
My
we always
mother.
ask this of characters who are leaving or finishing up their run. Is there any like failed storylines or plot lines that now you can reveal to us? Like maybe they were gonna pair Jake up with this person and then they went in a different direction, or we were gonna do this with Jake and then we didn't.
Not that I know of. There
Okay.
may have been, but I was not made privy to any of
Okay.
that.
So what we saw is what was intended for Jake.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you ever audition for Days before you landed the role of Stefan?
Not once.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
really?
No, I was offered the role of Stefan, and I mean I didn't even audition for that.
Oh,
What I will say is I auditioned for Marnie, our
Mhm.
casting director,
mhm.
back in 2000, the year 2000. So
Wow.
20, and this is all the time when young actors ask me advice and auditioning advice. The one thing I always tell them is you are never auditioning for the part you're auditioning for.
Mm.
Ever. You may get the part, but you're not auditioning for that part. That casting director will remember you for good or bad
Yep.
Mhm.
down the road.
Yes.
And it will make a difference. And so Marnie brought me into her office when I accepted the part of Stefan, and she was one of the people who I sat down with for a while, and we kind of, she briefed me on everything, and she said, "I just got to tell you, when you auditioned for me on it was Young and the Restless, however many years ago," and I said it was 2000, summer 2000, like I remembered it. It was one of my first auditions ever. She
Yes.
said, "I remembered you from that, and every time I saw you at an event or on television, I knew that was you, and I would see you, your work every now and then." So any young actors out there listening to this, watching this, always do your homework, put your best foot forward, do your best, because you are never auditioning for that one part ever.
Oh, wow. That's
just
some
like-
sound advice.
Yeah, and just like
Wow.
General Hospital.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Mark Teschner, I don't know how many times before I booked the role of Johnny Zakara. I could not tell you how many times I was at that studio for years before I booked that part. And it makes a difference. It makes a big difference.
Wow.
We have a question from the chat room
Mhm.
from Michelle Leibowitz. She asks, Michelle, who do you see more of yourself in, Jake or Stefan?
Oh,
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say mostly Jake,
Mm.
except for when somebody egregiously cuts me off on the road, my inner Stefan comes out.
You got right.
Yeah.
Same.
It's about
Yeah.
right for LA. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we all turn into a Stefan.
Yes, our inner Stefan comes out on the
Yeah.
freeways
Right.
of LA. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
All the
My
time.
God. Yeah.
Next up, Annette Thompson wants to know if your dog is named after Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yes,
Ah!
Ruprecht.
Oh.
Yes. And now he's looking at me. And when he acts up, I say, Ruprecht, do you want the genital cuff? Those
Whoa.
of you who know the movie
Whoa.
will understand and appreciate that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Steve Martin is my
Answer is no.
favorite. He is.
Oh.
Steve Martin played the role of Freddie Benson, who played the role of Ruprecht in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And I remember sitting in the movie theater as I think an 8-year-old, just blown away at what this man did on screen. And I tried to convince, I think I saw it with my mom, and then I tried to convince every friend I had to go see Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with me because I thought it was the greatest thing. I thought Steve Martin was the greatest thing. I have a huge Steve Martin portrait hanging. We have it up in one of our living rooms, and he's one of the first people I saw, and I thought that made me think, I think I want to do that one day. I would love to be able to do that. And so yes, Ruprecht is named after Ruprecht.
Look at that. Fans pick up on everything.
Yeah.
They don't miss a beat.
They do.
Yeah.
Christian in our chat room asks if you could play a character other than Jake or Stefan, who would it be?
Ooh.
Susan Banks.
Do you have the tape?
No, but Amazon can get them to me by tomorrow at noon.
Could we ask you to do your best Susan Banks?
Well, I kind of probably need the teeth to do my best Susan Banks, but you can call him Stuart, and they would just have a gas together.
Oh my god!
This is the most fun I've had in weeks. Oh my god!
I suddenly would love to see.
He's suddenly Susan.
Well, all right. Susan Banks, and then like maybe like Rod, like you. Well, maybe she broke up with Roger or something, but you play like her new boyfriend or something just for a second. I would love to see that dynamic.
Right.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or just like Susan and her brother at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
who'd you screw over today, Susan? Who'd you swindle?
Susan Banks is like one of my all-time favorite characters.
It's a great
she's
character.
so funny and so quirky. I love her. And Stacey does an amazing job portraying her.
Amazing.
You've been in scenes with her, Susan. Maybe as Jake though. How do you keep from
as Jake?
Like I know you all are professionals and you can hold yourself together, but I just in my mind I would not be able to. So what kind of method or what's your process of not breaking when Stacey is full on Susan?
It is difficult, but it doesn't differ too much from my approach as it is anyway, which is just getting into the thoughts of the character. And so there's not much acting involved when you're in a scene with Susan Banks, because all you have to do is just look at this person and watch this person and think, what is this person's next move? What are they getting at? What are their motives? What is happening? You know, and if you just get into that observational state of mind, it's very easy.
Yeah.
Also, just don't be drinking a glass of water when you're watching them.
Right, no spit takes. No spit takes. Yeah.
We'll do one more chat room question. Were you ever a fan? You talked about how you saw Steve Martin when you were younger, and that's kind of how you thought you wanted to be an actor. Did you ever watch any soaps growing up?
No, I wouldn't. But there was one summer I remember my mom was really into. It was All My Children, and between times where we would make fun of her for like really being into these stories every day, my brother and I would be like, "Hey, so what do you think Cord's going to do next?"
Right, yeah.
And then so eventually we got into it. But that was my only really fan moment of soap operas as a little kid.
Yeah.
I'll add on to that and ask, because you've displayed your love for Steve Martin. And now that, Days has moved and we've got presumably a bigger budget and we've got some more dreams to work with. We never ever thought we would get Jack A. Harry on Days of Our Lives.
Oh my God.
That, our
can I
heads
tell you?
exploded.
I've told her this. I used to run around. Okay, I see you. He's so needy. Did you see him just like take my arm and go like that? He's so funny. I used to run around my house going, Sandra. As like an 8-year-old little boy. That was my thing. 227 was my jam. My mom and I would watch 227, Golden Girls, like that whole lineup, right? And I thought Jack Hay was just the funniest human being. Yeah, I loved her. Yeah.
So
did she do it for you? Did she do the Sandra Clark for you?
No, I didn't. I didn't ask her.
Jackie, if you're watching for any reason, just go knock on Brandon's door and
give me a good Sandra. So now my daughter has gotten into watching Sister. And she's like, Daddy, you work with her? You know her?
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So
yes, Dad brownie points. I love it.
Yeah. So I may have some homework to do. I might have some homework.
Speaking of your daughter, other than the Jack Hay story, does your daughter does she brag about, my daddy's on TV, or is she at all impressed with what you do?
I really hope not. I really hope that's like the furthest thing from coming out. I'd rather her say shit, fuck, piss in the middle of class than be like, my daddy's on TV and your daddy isn't. That would just be, I would be mortified.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to name any names, but I was in a doctor's office once, and a very well-known actor was in the office, and we were next to each other, and he had his 2 kids, and these 2 kids were adorable. And one of them comes up to me and says, hey, my daddy is blah, blah, blah from TV. I was like, oh, okay, that's great. Good for you. But no, I hope that is not. I hope I'm just daddy to her. You know what I mean?
I totally thought that story was going to end with her standing up and being like, "Well, my daddy's on TV too."
She wasn't there, and had she been, she might.
Yeah.
But she doesn't really think like that. She always thinks it's really funny when we're out and like we'll be at Costco. It always fucking happens at Costco. Every time I go to Costco, there's somebody there who's like, hey, can I take a picture with you? And of course, I'm always like, yeah, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And Harper said, do you know that person? No. Oh, so they saw you on TV? Yeah. He thinks it's the funniest thing. Yeah.
Brandon, I have to ask you, is it the Burbank Costco?
No, it's not. It's very far away I live far from Burbank.
Because when my coworkers and I used to really, class it up and go to Costco for lunch.
Not class.
We once saw in Burbank, and we both watched Days, so it was very exciting for it. We saw Teo Penglis coming out of Costco, and we saw Will Ute coming out of Costco. And so then it became like a game where whenever we were at Costco, it was like spotting who from Days was going to be there. So that's why I was asking.
A Days of Our Lives bingo Costco card. Like,
exactly.
Who you got? Who's gonna come out today? I'm so close to a bingo.
So if anyone outside of California is wondering, this is how Hollywood works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Running people at Costco at the gym. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brandon, before we let you go, because we obviously love to talk and we will keep you here for forever, just shooting shit and just talking. But of course, all the fans, want to know what's coming up for Stefan. Can you give them a little bit of what's to come, just using one word?
Oh God, peacock.
There we go.
That fits in with our theme, how we started the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Peacock. Okay. Well, there you have it. Because since we announced that you were going to be on, all the Stabby fans have been like, "Oh, we need breadcrumbs. We need to know what's going to happen." Well, what's happening? Peacock.
A lot of Peacock. Happening. Yep.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Part of our show, and of course, we would love to have you back as Stefan dives back into the reality of Salem. We would love to kind of catch up with you and get your thoughts and insights on the storyline as it progresses.
Absolutely, I'm around. And before I go, I have to do a selfish, shameless plug. So you guys may know that we have started a band, Wally Kurth, Eric Martzoff, Carson Boatman, and I. We are called The Day Players.
Love it.
Self-explanatory. and we are embarking on our first tour this week. We leave Wednesday morning, and we're going to be playing New Jersey on Thursday. We're playing Bridgeport, New Jersey. We're doing Long Island, New York on Friday. Bridgeport, Connecticut on Saturday, and Beverly/Boston, Mass on Sunday. So you can check us out. Get your tickets at the dayplayersband.com, Dayplayersband on Instagram. Come check us out. We're doing some really fun cover tunes acoustically.
Now, us West Coast people are already wondering when will the Day Players? Yeah.
I don't know. We're trying to figure that out, but we will make that happen. That will be a thing. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because Judy Evans and I have already bombarded Eric Martzoff with the same question of like,
oh yeah,
yeah. We're like, when is it coming? Let's go. Yeah. We gotta see you guys live over here.
We would love to do it, and we will. It's just a matter of when and where.
Yeah. Well, when it happens, we'll be. I don't want to say front row and center, but we'll be there.
Yeah. I expect you to be front row and center. So
I'm tall, so if I'm front row and center, someone's not going to see.
I've been a fan of all their voices for years, so I will be front row and center.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
With a drink in my hand.
Please, at least one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you guys. We know that the tour is going to be super successful. A lot of people are already talking about it, and we're excited to revisit Stefan. So we're looking forward to that as well. It's going to be fun.
A lot of drama. A lot of drama.
A lot of peacock.
Yes.
And copious amounts of peacock. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Brandon. And we'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
Right,
bye. Yay!
I think I could not love him more.
I know.
Yeah. He's amazing.
We didn't even get to do the side by side.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I totally forgot about it. I had it on my mind, and then I was like, we're running out of time.
We ran out of time. It's fine.
Yeah.
We didn't need
so next time we'll inform him. That's the first thing we'll talk about is that. Before I wanted to show him the Michael Mattis's Halloween photo.
Yeah.
And I thought about it sooner. Before we head out, though, let's give you a peek as to what's coming up this fall on Peacock's Days of Our Lives.
So what do you say? Y'all want to make history or what?
Days of Our Lives has a new home on Peacock.
Cool, you're damn right we have.
Go on. Take a swing.
Try to remember how much we love each other. You wiped out his love for Gabi, and you pumped up his feelings for Chloe.
I'm not threatened by Stefan. In a couple of hours, Gabi and I will be married.
And after all these months of trying to find my killer, you finally have him.
Chad just found out who really murdered his wife. My brother is going to kill.
You'll hear about a scandal involving my daughter?
Think what could happen to Chanel should this information become public. Oh no. I'm Wendy Shen, Lee's sister.
Don't I look like a guy you can trust?
Not really. Maybe we should kiss.
There is no way in hell I want Eric working with my wife.
Eric, aren't you tired of fighting it?
Hey, Jada. It's good to be back.
I'm so thrilled to have them here.
It's time for him to scamper back to Whoville.
What the hell is going on here?
I can't breathe.
Orpheus infected Marlena and Kayla and Kate with a very rare toxin.
What about an antidote?
You're holding the last of its kind.
We need that orchid.
We're running out of time here.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's really you.
What kind of revenge are we talking about?
Y'all, this is how my face was the entire time while
right.
Like that.
Yeah.
And going back to our segment, that gets Tony's 3 Snaps Award. There's so much that's coming up. And we had in our group chat, somebody said, "Oh guys, I read what's coming up.
Because
boring, snooze."
So Opera Digest didn't make it sound that
yeah,
great.
no, they did
I was
not.
Like, and I
Which
went
is
online. I went online like, wait a minute, did they already like do the video? Because the video is the bee's knees.
Yes.
So then when I saw the video, I was like,
yes.
What you talking about?
Look, it was based off. My opinion was based off an interview that was very little information, purposely, obviously, but the information, the way that it was phrased was it was just very analytical. It was not. It was not this. This.
Yeah. Video part was always better. So yeah.
No.
Well, and we get a lot of people back, and I think we're gonna get another. Well, I won't say.
There's a lot to dissect in that, but I say this: if you are not going to pay $1.99 a month to go over to Peacock to see what's about to go down, then you're gonna miss it. But tune in here every Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a full dish of
We're free.
Dishin Days. Yeah, we are FREE.
Free.
Before we head out, Michael Mattis, tell the kind folks where they can find you.
You can find me on the social medias at ML Mattis. There it is.
That's you. All right. My favorite part of the show, Araceli. Let the kind folks know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
Just Twitter. And Justin Hareld.
Find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Just Instagram. And you can find all of us on all of our social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and _Dishin Days on the Twitter. And you can find little old me on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, at Lounging with Tony. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Special thanks to Brandon Barash for joining us today. Truly appreciate his time. And thank you all again for joining us. And hey, we'll see you starting tomorrow on Peacock. Well, not us on Peacock, but like days on Peacock. But Peacock, if you're out there, we're available. All right.
Yes, we are.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.